Yeah. Oh, we live. Yeah.
Almost.
Hey, thank you guys for joining and attending. Please take time out right now before we get too many people in here to share this on your social media platforms. Most importantly, we want to bring awareness to the things that we're doing for the Black community and the Black males. So if you have the chance and opportunity, we would greatly appreciate you. I'm gonna share mine real quick as well.
Yeah, how do you share this, bro? Where's the share button at?
You gotta go on
A
Facebook.
moment.
Go to the
A
group
moment.
and
Go to
share.
the Facebook group.
Hey, what up, Kendrick? What up, bro?
What
Good
it
to
do,
see you.
King?
I can't call it. I might spoil it. Look at that picture. You do. Go on. Yes, sir.
Let me see. Let me
That's
see.
cool. That's
It's not,
cool.
it's not showing for me yet, but when I see it, I'm gonna share it.
That's cool. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
We'll give a few minutes and let everybody join. Brian, how's it going, man? I haven't seen you in a while on Clubhouse, man. You was killing it for a minute.
Had to switch out the strategy a little bit, but all is well. How you doing?
And I'm getting better every day.
Brian, what's good, big?
What's going on? Look, it's like family reunion in here.
Yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is.
Sugar McMillan. That's my old neighbor, yo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 5-star. Good evening, everybody. Shadid.
Hey.
Okay, I still don't see it on my Facebook, but I'll go ahead and we start. Maybe a little lag on my end. But
We're streaming.
It'll be on my page.
Oh, we're live? Okay, I'm gonna go to Kendrick's page and share it. Once again, guys, if you are just joining and just hopping in, please share this live stream with your social media network. We want to bring awareness, show people all the things that we are doing in and for the Black community, right? The power collective of men and our partners, right? I can't forget about the ladies to help make this possible. Okay. Still a little lag, but let's get started. Doors are opening, so I will start this with the opening prayer, and then we'll get into the introductions. Once again, welcome. Thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate you. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity that you've given us today, dear Lord God, for us to come together, dear Heavenly Father. We know how good and pleasant it is for men to dwell together. We thank you for this community that you have created and allowed us to be a part of. We thank you for the mission that the founding members of BPM set way back in 1991, and us being able to carry out that mission continually for over 30 years. We thank you for the collective group thinking and the problem solving and troubleshooting and the networking opportunities you've given us and allowed us to have, dear Lord God. We thank you for this day and the protection you've given us. We thank you for allowing us to have health, wealth, awareness, and wisdom, dear Lord God. We thank you for keeping us safe. We thank you for blessing each and every person that's getting the opportunity to experience and witness this community that is being built. We thank you for blessing us with the burdens and passions and desires to carry on this legacy and this burden that we are delivering. We thank you for allowing us to be men of community. We thank you for blessing our families and our loved ones. We thank you for allowing us, dear Heavenly Father, to experience you and know you. And for these things, we thank you and we are grateful. And Heavenly Father, we praise you. In Jesus' name, amen. 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 Grace and peace, brothers. I'm going to do the introduction. I usually leave myself last, but this time I'll get myself out the way. So I am King Collins Akintade. I like the way that sounds. I'm working with Brian on branding that King Akintade, and I am a part of the Kingmakers. Kingmakers is it's my desire to help other men become kings. And in my efforts to help other men become kings, I want to help men become homeowners. So I'm working with Kingmaker, and we are building a network that would allow men to have everything they need, all the tools essential for you to become a person to seeking and desiring to get a home, to a person that is moving in a home. So we want to have the complete process set up for you, from mortgage lenders, real estate agents, home inspectors. We want the whole credit repair, whatever you need. This is my goal and my effort, to have Kingmaker be an ecosystem to help you get the things that you desire to get you from where you are now to in a home. And if you are currently in a home, if you want to get a new home, we want to help you there too. So if anyone is watching this and wants to be a part and help out with this mission that I'm carrying out, that myself, Mr. Sugar, is carrying out, please message me, right? If you want to be a part of Kingmaker, put a message in the comment box, or put a message if you're watching this on social media, and I will follow up. Thank you, and I will pass this over to Mr. Shadid.
Great evening. Shadid Laser, the product of family business, born into a family business. It's all I know. What I do currently is help creators and entrepreneurs understand the value of their content through content licensing. It's a multi-trillion-dollar industry that we have traditionally been locked out of. And so for authors, creators, speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs, I help them develop their signature programs into license-ready content. I also serve as the partnership chair for Black professional men, as well as the president of SCORE, which is the consulting arm of the Small Business Administration, which is the governing body of small business in the United States of America. It is a pleasure to connect with you this evening.
Yes. Thank you, good brother. Also, I want to let you guys know, please share your contact information with the chat box. The chat box can be saved. Overall, this is a networking organization, and networking is pivotal. Your net worth is your network. So please share your contact information in the chat box so we can connect with each other offline. Next, I have brother Kendrick Tillman, DJ 5-Star. Would you like to give us a brief introduction?
Absolutely. Can y'all hear me? Thumbs up.
Yes, sir. Crystal clear.
I love it. Greetings, everybody, world. I'm Kendrick Tillman, otherwise known as DJ 5-Star. I serve as the vice president here at Black Professional Men. I'm excited. We turned 30 years old, and I turned 40. So that means this organization was going on when I was a child, and to be able to stand on these giant shoulders to continue this mission to ensure the future of the African-American male, it means a great deal to myself. I'll digress with that because I think I'll get a chance to talk a little later in this meeting. And so I'll be able to share with you what we do professionally at 5-Star Enterprise.
Thank you, King. Greatly appreciated. Next, I'm going to go with straight down. I'm going to go with Mr. Troy Mobley. Troy, how's it going?
Good evening, or I should say great evening, everyone. Glad to be here on another General BPM meeting. Awesome to hear the prayer, powerful prayer, King Collins. I love it. It invigorates me. We are a Matrix Connect group. We provide many services for small and mid-sized businesses. We focus on agility in business. And we also have uncovered that many small, mid-sized businesses need printing and promotional services as well. So we do that as a value-added services to those that need it.
Thank you, sir. And if you get a chance, please share your contact information with the chat. I know a lot of people may be needing your service, and it'll be a blessing to get a hold of you as easy as possible.
Awesome.
Without further ado, we had to go to the brother Leroy. Mr. Leroy, I know you need no introduction, but
Good evening, brothers. It's your boy, Leroy McKenzie Jr., the Impact Builder. I am the general body coordinator for Black Professional Men, but I also serve as the president and CEO of J&F Enterprises, which is a distribution, publishing, and business consulting firm located right here in Baltimore. It is great to see the brothers on here tonight. I want to thank everybody for coming in, and then for those that are tuning in as well, we want to thank you all for joining us as we are Black professional men, and we ensure the future of the African American male.
Thank you, brother. Greatly appreciate it. Everyone knows how to get in contact with you, but we will continue to. Mr. Thomas, would you care to grace us with your presence?
You're on mute. We gotta unmute yourself. Yeah, you gotta click the unmute. Uh-oh.
Oh, Mr. Thomas, you're muted.
Yeah, you gotta unmute yourself.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
My name is Thomas Rouse. I'm associate broker with Century 21 downtown. I used to be involved with Black Man Professional, coming to some of the meetings over at Morgan. And then when they moved it to the library, I could never find it. Then I got sick, and I've been sick for the last couple of years. But I'm healthy enough now to try and get back involved with the group, and like to keep up with some information that you're going on with you guys.
Welcome back, King.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Absolutely.
Prayers for you and your health, man.
Thank you.
We're thankful and grateful that you can make it today. So we definitely greatly appreciate you.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Brian Olds, would you care to bless us with your presence?
And we can definitely work on that name. I think you should just go with King, man. I think
King.
we might be King CA perhaps, but Brian O's here, president and founder of Black Speakers Network, proud member of Black Professional Men for many years. We'll get a chance to talk later. Of course, we'll be talking a little bit tonight about communication best practices. I want to thank Leroy for a special invitation to be able to do that. Many friends in the room, and obviously looking forward to staying connected. Definitely want to give a special shout out to Mr. Shadid, who also sits on Executive Advisory Council at Black Speakers Network as well. So thanks a lot, and looking forward to this evening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Brother Sugar, would you care to bless us with your presence?
Hey, everybody, I hope all is well. Man, yo, King, that was a powerful prayer, and I appreciate that. My name is Sugar McMillan. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. From New York to Baltimore, I enjoy helping people, and what I really enjoy is helping people with their businesses, whether that's plug and play, finances. We can go through the whole gambit. I've just opened up a consulting agency and trying to do it the right way. I'm on the leadership board, and just getting to know the brothers, which I've probably texted, emailed, and speak to everyone. Has been just a blessing in my life. So just thank y'all for being here, and I'd love to help more.
Well, thank you. Thank you for blessing us, King. I want to get on into the to the meeting, so I may have skipped and went a little out of order. So this meeting is about the power of effective storytelling and communication. And before I get into the about Black professional men, I want to share a story of how I came across Black professional men. I was at a networking event, and I was telling them that I have a burden and a passion to help males develop. And I was given this number. This number that I was given was to Mr. Hassan Diggs. So I called the number up, and I'm young, energetic, excited. And I said, hey, I hear about Black professional men. I want to help men develop. I have a passion for helping men get better. I was a man that had to build myself on my own without having men. I never had a father figure, so I just got this passion for helping men. And in that conversation, Hassan asked me a question. He said, "How many men do you want to help?" And I was clueless. I had no idea. Like I don't know how many men I want to help. He was like, "Well," so do you want to help 10 men or do you want to help 100 men? And I was like, "Well, I would like to help 100 men." And he gave me a powerful lesson. In order to scale and to help 100 men, I needed a system. And Black Professional Men has the system for allowing me and others to scale and make an impact to helping more men. This organization is a nonprofit organization started in 1991. This organization was started to ensure the future of African American males. Black Professional Men does the ensuring of the future of Black professional males with our scholarship fund, as well as the efforts and hours of labor and work that men do inside of the community. Our men have a goal of developing and influencing impact in the community, and we have the networking abilities to help one another do that. So Black Professional Men has greatly impacted my life, and I know it will impact the life of any man who is interested in joining. So if you are not a member of Black Professional Men, I urge you to go to our website. I'll put the website in the chat. We'll put the website on Facebook and find out how you can join. Your donations directly go into helping the scholarship fund. The scholarship fund gives money back to other men that are looking to further their careers. Your scholarship fund makes an impact into our next generation, right? There are other ways that you can join a membership, and there are tons of benefits that you can receive. So I urge any man that if you're interested in really making an impact in men, if you're interested in really developing yourself as a better man, if you're interested in networking with other men, Black Professional Men is the place for you. And without further ado, Mr. Rashad, would you like to give us the news?
Sure. Good evening, BPM members, guests, visitors. My name is Rashad Holloway. I serve as the BPM treasurer. I also serve as the co-chair for the Rojas Array of Hope Scholarship program this year. Just wanted to cordially invite everyone who is within my listening ear or who will review this meeting later on to join us as we celebrate our awardees, Ray of Hope Scholarship awardees, on June 19th at 12 p.m. over in Ellicott City. We will be honoring our scholarship high school seniors that have taken part in the BPM Ray of Hope Scholarship program this year. Those students have done a great job in preparing themselves for their future by making sure that they took care of business academically and living up to the ideals of BPM scholars. And as you said, Collins, one of the things that I definitely believe in is building young men and building the village. So this is our way of building that village and making sure that, you know, our future attendees and our future BPM members know, hey, why they're here and their purpose, and making sure that they live up to that purpose. I'll take any questions if you guys have any.
Absolutely. Thank you, King. The floor is open if anyone has any questions.
I do. Rashad, can you how can people get get tickets? Are the tickets available, and what's the time for the event?
Thanks, Leroy. So tickets are available on Eventbrite. The Eventbrite link is out there. I'm pretty sure it's also on the link tree as well. So if anyone would like to purchase a ticket, we do have some tickets available. BPM members, we definitely expect you all to attend. We also expect any guests who want to come and celebrate the scholars who will be honored on June 19th. They're also more than welcome to attend. We also would like to thank some of our sponsors, UPS and a few of the other sponsors that we have that definitely pour in, and all the BPM members who pay their dues. We definitely appreciate you all. And, you know, always opportunity for anyone to donate. Is there a donation links out there to donate to the scholarship fund and make sure that, you know, we continue to push this thing along and making sure that we ensure the future of the Black male in our community. So thank you.
Yes, sir. I would like to know if is there any way we could get the Eventbrite or the link in the chat? Does anyone have that?
I have it.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to get that in the chat. And you made a great point. For those who haven't paid your membership, please pay your dues. Your dues directly impact, our mission. Your dues directly go to us being able to do the things that we do. And it's deductible. You can, write it off on your taxes, right? There's other ways you can do it. You can serve. You can, pay your membership dues to serving and ticket sales. There's tons of ways. Just reach out to us, connect with us. And the Ray of Hopes is in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah, I got another question too. Now, with this being Rashad, with this being an in-person event, is there a limited amount of seating due to the COVID policies or procedures and stuff that we have to be adhered to?
Yes, Leroy. So we do have a limited number of tickets. So that's why we're encouraging people to purchase their tickets in advance right now as soon as possible, as we have COVID protocols to continue to make sure that we have in place. And also, if tickets sell out, we sold out. We're only expecting a limited number of folks to attend. So we definitely encourage folks to purchase their tickets as soon as possible or now. There's no time like the present. So we definitely encourage folks to pick up their tickets now. And also your presence just as a member, even if you're a member of BPM or if you're a member of the community, your presence to these young men, and when I say presence, meaning they love to see, I'm sure our students would love to see other folks that support them and we'll definitely love to, and we plan to use Hop In as well. I just feel Hassan put that in there, so it'll also be virtual as well. But students would love to definitely see that, you're supporting them in their efforts. As students, the students that we selected this year have excellent grade point averages and excelled academically, socially. So an awesome group of proper kids. So I'm glad to say that, hey, myself, Kendrick, Cornell, we all work with them during this year. So definitely proud of the students.
Yeah, and it was amazing to see it. I believe it was the general body meeting in April where we had the young men on. So if you guys get a chance, check out that general body. All the general body meetings are recorded on YouTube. You can check it out. You can just meet some of these young brothers, and it wasn't all of them, but just seeing how aware, how sharp these young men are. Right, when we think about the next generation, we don't think about them in the best light. But these individuals that I was able to speak with and witness, these were some sharp, bright young men, and I was just thankful to be a part of their success, be a part of their life.
I'd just like to springboard on what you said earlier, Collins, about the dues. Rashad, I'd like to know where we stand in regards, I don't know if you have these numbers in the top of your head as far as percentage of active members or members, period, that have paid their dues.
Politically correct. We need more of our members to step up and pay their dues.
Okay.
That's the best way to put it. If you're a member, you haven't paid your dues, there are a number of opportunities. You can have a recurring payment, as Collins mentioned. There's opportunities to go ahead and pay in full or raise funds to pay dues. So definitely we have 3 different opportunities for folks to be engaging and raise money for dues.
Shaq, can you also talk about what the dues help for us as an organization, what they go towards, and how our dues assist in the Rojas program with the young students that we sponsored?
Definitely. So a part of your dues or part of members' dues go towards the funding of the scholarship fund. Next year, we're in the 2021-22 school year. We plan to have a crop of have new students. So we'll have freshmen and we'll have seniors next year. So we're going to do something a little different. We're going to have 2 groups or 2 sets of students that we'll be working with in the fall. So definitely funds go towards operations also for the organization BPM, for us to be able to offer these great general body meetings for free, for free of charge on awesome platforms that we're on right now. Those are the things that help fund operations for BPM, to be able to do our events in the community at limited or limited cost or for minimal fee. Those things help fund what we do in the community with the great leadership of Brother Hassan and Brother Kendrick. That's how we're able to do these great things. And also, we also need partners and partnerships. So definitely multiple opportunities that are there for folks in the community to partner with BPM.
Thank you. I know I seen. I was trying to find it. I thought I seen a option where you could pay your dues for 10 years. You know, I'm looking for those platinum members. Anybody want to pay 10 years worth of dues?
Lifetime members. I appreciate those members. Definitely.
Shout out to the lifetime members.
Lifetime members are definitely appreciated. Those folks who are lifetime members definitely have stepped up and answered the call of BPM. As we celebrate our 30th anniversary this year as well.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Okay, well, keeping us on time. We're going with our member spotlight. Our member spotlight is none other than Mr. Troy Mobley. The stage is yours.
Okay. Can I get privileges? I did create just a little small PowerPoint. Nothing complex. It'd just be very, very small, just 6 slides.
You're all set, Troy.
All right. Awesome.
I'll let you know when I can see your share screen.
Thank you.
Okay, it's all you.
All right. So, without further ado, my name again is Troy Mobley, as you all know, and I am the CEO of Matrix Connect Group. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. Our contact information is in the first slide here, info@matrixconnectgroup.com. Phone number is 443-291-9262. And we're going to talk a little bit about today effective marketing campaigns, specifically for promotional and print campaigns media. I do want to say that I recently became a SCORE mentor under the tutelage and leadership of Shadid. So I want to just thank him for that opportunity. And also I want to thank all of you BPM members for just being able to network with you guys. I've done business with a lot of you and had communications with all of you. So I appreciate that. I've learned from each and every one of you. So hopefully I've poured into at least give some level of value to the organization. So without further ado, we'll move on to, first we want to define your strategy, right? You want to create a business campaign, because even though we're talking about print media and promotional media as it relates to a campaign as a whole, we first need to have a business plan. And I'm sure everyone knows that. And so what I've been suggesting, instead of a long drawn out business plan, there's some really good one-pager business plans, which is now being called a canvas, because of most people now and businesses understanding that you have to be agile. Business plans used to be that you set the plan and you stick to the plan. But that's antiquated because we live in an information society now, and things are, as we all know, very agile, right? The things are always moving, so we have to build our business plan with that intent. Secondly, we want to identify, our target suspects and prospects, where they are, where they live, where they communicate, where they do business, and reach out to them accordingly. Thirdly, we want to incorporate technology from the beginning of the operation process. I can't tell you how many times that I have been in communication, even in corporate America, and even in as my business is today, and companies' businesses become successful, and they don't have the time to go back and look at the processes because they have to concentrate on the core competencies. So starting with the end in mind is critical, and that always incorporates technology. Again, develop agile goals and set milestones, and most importantly, key performance indicators, also known as KPIs, because that's going to let you know how you're doing as it relates to your business plan and the goals and the milestones. You have to have the key performance indicators, and that applies to the marketing efforts as well. Integrated content marketing and lead generation, all of which is designed. The print media, the promotional products are all designed to do what? Generate leads and business. So we want to incorporate social media to generate lead activities, as well as website activity to generate lead information, so that you have a list to do every door direct, or if you want to send to a specific list of suspects or prospects based on relative and relevant information that you've captured from these sources. So all of that means just an omni-channel marketing effort. And so you have a physical location, some people have catalogs, and print media would fall into that print catalog category. With your website, paid searches, paid ads. There's a new term out now as it relates to paid ads called ROHAS, which is, I digress, is not necessarily had to do with print media, but then you have to also have your direct mail and email and television or radio. So it's all a campaign, which is important. And I would say that print media is a critical component because we all over communicated when it comes to our email and anything having to do on the web. So statistics show that people are more likely to open up a print media campaign, a direct mail piece, than they are to open up an email for marketing. So we want to lay the groundwork. So as I mentioned earlier, adding direct mail campaign and email campaigns makes good economic sense. And you always want to track, you want to measure everything. And unless you have a system, you cannot measure effectively. And I'm sure everyone's heard the old adage, you can't manage what you don't measure. Or you can't manage what you don't measure. So you have to measure. You have to have a tool to measure everything. And that would include your print media campaigns as well. So there's ways of doing that by using control number, using a specific number, or having some call to action in your direct mail campaign, and it has to be unique for that specific campaign. A lot of times you'll create a specific phone number for that campaign, and then you will use a different number for that campaign, as well as different email address. So you will drive activity to those calls of actions based on that specific print mail campaign or direct mail campaign. That way you can track it effectively. And so you can repeat it. If it's successful, you definitely want to repeat it. But so many times people mix and match their campaigns and they have success, but they don't know how they got to that success. So, you definitely want to put in controls to manage your the effectiveness of each campaign. So just a few statistics. Using two-channel campaign results reduces 35% lift over a single campaign, no matter what that campaign is. And again, I always emphasize using print media as a component of your campaign. Sending direct mail after email increases the effectiveness of 40%. And this information came from InfoTrends. Those of you who know InfoTrends, they are probably the industry leader for data and information as it relates to business. Statistics also show that 57% of millennials have made purchases based on direct mail offers. So that's a huge percentage. So if you're not using mail as a tool to generate suspects and prospects and ultimately clients, then you should start. And if you need any assistance with any of this, feel free to reach out to me. The advantages of direct mail and adding direct mail to your campaign. People spend more time with physical advertising than they do direct mail. So this information came directly from Temple University, UPS. This information came out in November of 2020. So it isn't old data, it's new data, current data, if you would. People also have a strong emotional response to physical ads, and they remember them better. Also, from Temple University and the United States Postal Service. Because that, information such as this, you have to consider source, right? So because direct mail is tactile, it's harder to ignore. And I know from my own personal experiences, I get an email, the chance of me reading an email that I know it's a direct mail marketing campaign, slim to none. However, if I get a tactile piece of paper that I can open up and take a look at, then I'm more apt to at least open it up. May still go in the trash, but I'm going to open up and look at it. You can use QR codes, barcodes, near field communications, not to get too far in the weeds, but also augmented reality in your direct mail campaign as well. So again, anything that I'm going over, we can help you with this as well. And I meant to say earlier, at any point, anyone has any questions, feel free to interrupt me. I encourage interruptions. So direct mail comes in a variety of sizes and formats, and it can be used to attract attention. Like, for example, I have customers that I do every door direct. It's a simple postcard that gets mailed out, and it gets mailed out to everyone in a certain demographic, a certain zip code. I'm finding that a lot of restaurants and even small businesses, Chinese food restaurants, they like every door direct. They also like the physical, the putting of physical advertisements in either in window shields or in the doors. So I'm developing a team of young folks that I'm going to print them out and then sell this service to local businesses. And I've done this in Philadelphia and was very successful at it. This is before I even had the capability of printing. Now that I have the capability of printing, I'm assuming it's going to be extremely successful because I don't have that overhead. Direct mail offers additional real estate in which to deliver your marketing message. So again, basically it's more of the same. It's a different experience when you're doing direct mail or the end user or your prospect. So just 5 tips for combining direct mail with email. And then at the end, we'll talk briefly about promotional products. It kind of speaks for itself. But you want to consider delivering critical information on both channels, again, to increase the likelihood of the impact and likelihood of getting a response. Each communication builds on the last, so it should be a continuum of communications from the last. It always should be, well, sometimes you want it to be static and generic when you send out the first. And I always like to take a shotgun approach first. So that may be every door direct. And also have the ability to create lists for you. So if anyone out there that needs a list created, based on either a demographic or psychographic, and that psychographic would include lifestyles. For example, if you want a list of people that, or either individuals that like dogs, for example, and it is based on a history of a buying pattern of dog supplies. So I can create that list. If you have if you're looking for uh, a B2C, you're looking for clients that have just moved to the area. We can create a list for you with clients who just moved to the area within 6 months, so you can target them. So the ability to slice and dice and provide you with a list that's relevant to your needs, we can do that for you as well. Excuse me. Fourthly, thirdly, you want to use direct mail to emphasize a message. Again, part of the campaign, hopefully at some point you're capturing the email or requesting the email of your suspect or prospect, either on your website or in the direct mail campaign, or even phone. So that's one thing I left out in the campaign, is the phone is always, it's probably second under direct mail for reaching suspects and prospects. So again, you want to ensure that your direct mail campaign adheres to all the postal standards. We ensure that, and it also wants to reflect the graphic standards of your website and the direct mail piece that follows via email and email. You want to use a direct mail campaign to initiate the conversations with people whose email address you don't have. So again, as I stated earlier, at some point you want to capture the email so you can have that campaign. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't communicate that I'm a reseller for Zoho, and Zoho is a tool that enables you to communicate with your suspects and prospects via social media, and it's bi-directional. So, for example, once you plug their names of the business or the individual into your CRM, it's going to search via social media. It's going to search for everybody's name on social media that has that name. And you just select that person, and then it's going to associate their name in the CRM. And so when you send emails out, when you send messages out to social media, and when they respond, then you will be able to see everything in one place. That would include any phone calls you've made to that client, any direct mail pieces you sent to that client, any emails, all communications will be in one place. Lastly, first of all, before we go here, I want to talk briefly about promotional products, right? So promotional products is something that's really hard to measure. However, it's known to have an effect on marketing and branding. So when you, like, for example, anyone who is doing these seminars or webinars, and if you're in business, you should have the name of your company on your shirt or your hat, because that's branding. That's a way to become more familiar, for your prospects to be more familiar with your brand. So this is a living billboard. Right now, I'm a billboard for BPM. So typically I would have Matrix Connect Group on my shirt. So you want to constantly do that. And you also want your clients wearing your apparel as well. It's huge. It's a powerful, but you can't measure it. You can't necessarily measure it. You won't necessarily see direct cause and effect like you can with other methods of marketing or advertising, as you would, via an email or direct mail campaign, but it does work. So definitely get some type of marketing, some type of apparel with your business. And as I stated earlier, that's something that we don't focus on, but that's a service we do as a value add to for solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and small to mid-sized businesses. But ultimately, it's all about relationship. And it's all about relationship, not with businesses per se, but with people and bringing value. Um, we can have the best mousetrap in the world, but if people don't know about us, what good is it? So again, many times people are very good at what they do, their core competency, but where they lack is moving information effectively, which is going to make you more competitive and give you the ability to focus in on your core competency and, excuse me, and the marketing aspect of it. Again, if if suspects and prospects don't know who you are and how to contact you, what good is having your service? So you're never going to make the money that you would like to make, and you might make it, but you won't keep as much as you could in profits because you're paying it all out in operational costs. So that's what I have for effective marketing using print and promotional products. Any questions? And this is my contact information once again. Any questions? Anything we've gone over?
Well, I'll ask you this question, Troy. With the marketing campaigns that you talked about, um, how significant is it that um, you develop the most effective means of being able to get your message across with those different ways that you talked about in communicating with your target audience? How important does the messaging play in communicating who you are as a business, and what information do you want to give to your target audience in these particular types of marketing campaigns that you talked about tonight?
Oh, messaging is critical. Obviously, the messaging is part of your brand. Um, yes, absolutely. As well as messaging will be the content. It will be how it's delivered, and most importantly, again, I reiterate, is how that's measured. Did I answer your question, Leroy?
Yes, absolutely.
Any other questions, comments?
I just want to thank you, brother Troy, for sharing your information. We really appreciate that. Very insightful. Um, we just really thank you. Right, a lot of people don't understand. A key takeaway that I got is just being intentional about on your messaging, and you can't manage what you don't measure. Right. I really enjoy those two tips. Key takeaways for me. Um, Without further ado, we will be moving on. But thank you for sharing. The contact information is there. So if anyone would like to, please get in contact with Brother Troy Mobley to really help your expand your message and get your business off to the next level.
Also, I just like to say it's good to see Brother Thomas on in this forum. We've participated in another forum together, but it's good to see him here.
Well, thank you. It's been a while.
Yes.
All right, let me just say this for a second. Thomas, if you ever question if advertising was an investment versus throwing it away, when I seen you come on the screen, I knew exactly who you were from the Minority Business Directory. So definitely sign up with them another year.
Yeah, I'm in there. Thank you.
Okay, next we have up Mr. Brian Olds. We're a little bit behind schedule, but thank you for being patient, Mr. Brian. The floor is yours. Please share with us your effective tips to communication.
No problem at all. I feel like everything actually works out right on time. And that was a great presentation, Troy. I appreciate that information. That stuff is right up my alley. So Appreciate that. I'm gonna share my screen as well. Let me know if you all can see it. All right, good stuff. Thank you. Always count on Shadid for the thumbs up. Appreciate you, brother. All right, so really excited. So first of all, Black professional men, I believe the power of storytelling can change your life. I absolutely believe it could change your family, and it could certainly change your business. So this evening, we're going to be talking all about unlocking the power of storytelling in life, family, and business. So here's the deal. If you have been sitting next to me in a small classroom at Morgan State University in 2006, you would have witnessed as I nervously stood up, made my way to the front of a classroom that looked something like this, and prepared to deliver my very first speech in Toastmasters. Now, Thomas, I see you there. If I would have put you on the front row of that situation, you probably would have noticed a couple things. Number one, you would have noticed my sweaty palms. You certainly would have heard my voice start to crack under the weight of the pressure of delivering a presentation. And if somehow you missed all of that, you absolutely would have seen me pacing back and forth, because for whatever reason, when some people, namely me, get nervous and have to present, it's just a bad habit to pace back and forth. Now, in this picture, King, you see how the door is closed right there? That wasn't actually the case back in 2006. Somebody made the mistake of leaving the door open. And so at one point, I'm pacing back and forth. I almost walked all the way out of the room. I have a Nigerian friend. His name is Deepo Adesina. He was back there, Southwest Airlines styles, trying to wave me back into the room as I was walking out. And so, by the way, all of this happened within the first 4 to 6 minutes. Guys, it was a 6-minute presentation. That was all that was happening on the outside. On the inside, if you had an X-ray or a CAT scan or something like that, you would have noticed a couple other things. And y'all know it. You know, when people say you have, when we're nervous about anything, whether we're going on a job interview, we get trying to ask somebody out on a date, they always say we got what flying around in our stomach? The butterflies, right? Got the butterflies flying around in the stomach. Well, here's the deal. I didn't just have, a casual case of the butterflies. These weren't the Discovery Channel, Nat Geo, like the nice little monarch butterflies. These were the Hannibal Lecter style, like horror movie ones that were like crashing into each other, trying to escape. And so I'm up there and I think I'm going to die. But eventually, here's what happens, Black professional men. I wrap up my presentation and I immediately notice 3 things. Number one, I was still alive. That was amazing to me because I thought I was going to die on the spot. Kendrick and so many other people, y'all have heard the statistics that, most people, when it comes to things like speaking, would rather, if you're at a funeral, you'd rather be the one giving the eulogy, or you would actually rather be the person in the casket than giving the eulogy. So I thought I was going to die on the spot, but I was still alive. As I made my way back to my seat, I noticed a couple other things. Number 2, everyone in the room was clapping. They were clapping. And in fact, they weren't just clapping. What I later would realize, Leroy, is that Toastmasters, we started doing this tradition of a standing ovation. So I got a standing ovation. Now, if you've ever been to a Toastmasters club, in fact, drop a 1 in the comments if you've ever been to a Toastmasters club. If you've ever been to a Toastmasters club, you notice we clap for everything. Like if you bring your pen to the meeting, Shadid, you're getting a round of applause. It's just pretty much how it goes. But it made me feel really good at the time. And here's the third thing. The third thing I realized is that, hey, I just survived my first major presentation. And if I could deliver 1 presentation, I could deliver 2. And then eventually 2 turned into 4, 4 turned into 8, 8 turned into 10. I started speaking outside of Toastmasters. I started to feel my confidence go up. I got my first paid presentation. I actually graduated from Morgan State University. MSU in the building, HBCUs in the building, graduated from Morgan State University and kept going, and the rest was history. But why do I share that story with you? With the sweaty palms and the shaky voice. By the way, got a picture of me right here. This is my friend, Deepo Adesina, the one that was like waving me back in. This guy, Jonathan Pasley on the right. This picture was taken in 2008. And I could tell because that's, probably about 50 pounds ago. But definitely was very excited to be a part of Toastmasters, and I was starting this journey. But I share that story with you because I want you to know, as it relates to this idea of speaking and closely tied to what we're talking about tonight of storytelling, it doesn't matter what your skill level is. I'm what you call a certified introvert. So Shadid knows this. I couldn't lead two people in silent prayer back in 2006 when I first began this thing called speaking. So don't think there's anything special about me. There's something very special about the process along the way. And it's a process that anybody here in Black professional men could apply to your life, to your family, to your business, or even here as you're growing Black professional men. Now, here's one thing that I later on realized about speaking. There is this concept, I'm sure you have all seen it, talked about it, read about it. It is called the comfort zone. And the interesting thing about the comfort zone is that the comfort zone is the place where we naturally just feel safe. We feel like we're in control. And then you see these other zones that jet out from the comfort zone. We have a fear zone, a learning zone, a growth zone. Here's the deal. One of the things that was interesting to me is that as I went through this journey of speaking, 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, my comfort zone started to expand. And I began getting more comfortable speaking in front of larger audience, getting comfortable speaking in front of executives, getting comfortable speaking in virtual environments like this. And I got better as I went along the way. In fact, as I mentioned, I graduated Morgan State University 2007. Where did I go? Ended up right in corporate America, Aerotech. And this is right around the time I actually joined Black Professional Men as well. O'Neal McDaniels, if you guys know him, he, they say you're elected, selected, or kidnapped into BPM. I think I was all three, but either way, made it to my first meeting and kept it moving. But here's what happened. Actually, I went into corporate, and if you remember anything about 2008, that's when the bottom fell out of the economy. But I didn't lose my job. I stayed there, and 2013 actually got promoted to a training specialist. I went back to school to study instructional design and adult learning. 2014, I got promoted to we had a brand new diversity and inclusion department, so I got an opportunity to do that. 2016 is when I started Black Speakers Network. If you're not familiar, we are a nationwide speaker development and training organization. And so our mission is to equip, connect, and inspire the next generation of Black professional speakers. And so if you are current aspiring professional speakers, that's who we serve. And then in 2019, 2019, man, specifically April 12th, 2019, 5:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thomas, it was 62 degrees outside. The wind was blowing 4 degrees from the northwest. I left corporate America to run BSN full time. I could never forget the feeling of watching the building fade away in my rearview mirror for the last time after 11 years. And not that I didn't have a great experience working, but now was off to another journey. And so one of the things I realized on each of these touch points, BPM, one of the things that is most important is that I understood that my biggest growth in each of those milestones occurred about 6 to 12 months after I left my comfort zone, after I got out of, the thing that was actually, getting easier for me and whatever it was. And you might say, hey, Brian, and you go and say, but Brian, weren't you afraid? Answer, yes, absolutely afraid. I was terrified, Thomas. I didn't want to get up and speak. I didn't want to go through those training classes. I didn't want to, start a new department. And I didn't want to necessarily, step out and do all the things that I did with BSN, but we did it regardless. And why did we do that? Because one of the things I realized and one of the things I share with you, even as we get into this topic of effective storytelling, this is applicable to everything. Everything you want in life is waiting for you, but it's waiting for you just outside of your comfort zone. So whatever it is that you want, better family, promotion, business, to grow BPM, everything that you want is waiting for you right outside of your comfort zone. But the good thing is that comfort zone expands to meet you as long as you continue to push outside of it. It's like a rubber band. Once you stretch it, it never goes back to the same size. So as we dive into this element of storytelling, we're going to share 3 reasons why you need to, I believe, BPM, you need to master the power of stories. Not just get good at them, not just tell stories for the sake of telling, because Black people, we could tell stories. My brother loves to tell stories. He was over here the other night. That man must have left at like 10:30. He came over for one thing. He was still telling stories. And I was like, okay, it's you start doing a yawn, like, you're trying to, and they still talking. And he's like, but so as we are a storytelling culture. That's how we translate information. And so I'm going to share 3 reasons why you need to master the power of stories. I'm going to share some best practices on how to structure your stories. And then I think we're done because, Leroy, he's not paying me overtime. So I'm going to try to get it out quick and make sure that you all get some good information. Is that good? And if you have questions, let's go ahead and drop them in the comments and we'll get to those at the end. So let's roll. So 3 I's for why you need to create effective stories. The first one is income, guys. First one is income. And now I recognize that we have a number of entrepreneurs here, and this really applies to both sides. But I truly believe that if you can master this art of storytelling, that is going to dramatically influence your income for the rest of the time that you are a working adult. And it doesn't really matter if you are, in business for yourself or working a job. There is a direct correlation between your ability to communicate effectively and your ability to create additional income, or if you're in business, revenue for yourself. That's why I love the presentation that we had before, with Troy. I thought you did an amazing job, talking about marketing channels, right on target, because these are all tools. You said it, it doesn't matter how good you are if other people don't necessarily, can't find you, and they can't find you if you don't talk about yourself or give the rest of your clients and customers the opportunity the ammunition to actually talk about you. So, but if you're in a traditional corporate environment, I always love to share this model. It's called the STAR method. And so if anyone ever been on what's called an informational interview where, they ask you, not informational, a situational interview where they're asking you specific questions. And you could tell if you're in a situational interview, because once you get there, you sit down and, you may have 1 or 2 people, and the interview starts with this phrase: tell us about a time. Tell us about a time. If you get hit with the tell us about a time, Thomas, that means that you are in a situational interview. That means they're looking for specific things. They're not sitting there looking for you to, tell them, 1 or 2 like small details. They want you to take them through a journey. And so this STAR method, again, is just storytelling. Storytelling shows up in every area of your life. And so if you get hit with one of these, tell us about a time, you need to frame the situation. In other words, tell them a specific time. So it's like, hey, tell us about a time you had to, deal with a difficult coworker. Give them the situation. Well, 2 years ago, I was working on managing a team, and we had a person that, no matter how much task we gave them, they just never seemed to complete it by the deadline. You frame the situation. Task. Describe the task you had to complete, including the expectations and challenges. So deals with the task. We had a project. It was absolutely at risk of being behind schedule. And so what we needed to do was create a project plan in order to ensure that the project was going to be completed on budget, on time. That's what the task was. Action. Now, the action is very important, because the action is not what happened. This isn't an opportunity to talk about what the company did. This isn't an opportunity to talk about what Kelly, an accountant, did. This isn't an opportunity to talk about what Leroy came through and did. This is about what you did, what Brian did, what King did, what Kendrick did to solve the problem. Explain what you did and how you did it. So we got situation, task, action, and then the R is the result. This is the biggest thing that you absolutely need to do to make sure you nail this question, because at the end, something happened. Either the project ended on time and under budget, or it didn't. And if it did, and it's because of the action that you took, that is a very good interview question. And if it didn't, but you can still explain why it didn't. If it was in your control or outside of control, it's still a very good response. And so if you're interviewing, storytelling is absolutely going to show up. But this is the same format if you are in a business plan pitch competition. This is the same format if you are applying or trying to find a VA or somebody that's going to help you actually scale your business to the next level. This is the same model I use for traffic tickets. They're like, do you know why I pulled you over? Well, and take them through the whole thing. So I encourage you to use, you can screenshot this or whatever, but I highly recommend, incorporating this because stories can impact your income. Now, what other things stories do? Stories can also create influence. Stories can create influence. What do we mean? Stories have the power to change the hearts and minds of the people that we serve. And we know this, some of the greatest leaders that we've had in history, not just modern history, like we have Dr. Martin Luther King here and President Barack Obama. Where is this guy? We miss him. Can somebody get him back, please? But this is evident. We know that stories have the power to move people to action. Stories have the ability to capture us, to create a emotional experience that allows us to actually bring people, indoctrinate them into whatever it is that we're trying to do. And so there's this famous thing that says, facts tell, but stories sell. And it's absolutely true. And so I'm going to encourage you to really consider, and this is critical, I think, for organizations like BPM. I love what Troy said earlier about rocking the shirt, the BPM shirt. Somebody's going to immediately ask a question. Hey, what's BPM? And then hopefully you got a great story to be attached to that. You're like, well, in 1991, 3 individuals, started an organization focused on addressing the social, political, and economic wares of the African-American community. And by the way, here's what I'm doing to impact that. People think in stories. If I tell you, hey, I went to Morgan State University. If you've been to the Morgan State University campus in 2006, you would have watched me stand up, walk to the front of the room, and prepare to deliver a very first speech in Toastmasters. Whether you've been there or not, there's a story, a picture that starts to form in your mind, and you're connecting that story to what the words that we're actually saying. And if there's emotional connectivity there, then it drives people to action. And so highly, highly want to recommend that we consider, the impact of influences that stories have. And then finally, stories create impact. Stories create impact. And now, here's what I love, because obviously here in Black Professional Men, we are doing a lot of work. We mentioned the Rays of Hope Scholarship and Awards Breakfast. That's coming up. I think you're going to hear a lot of amazing stories there. I'll be emceeing that event, so certainly looking forward to it. It's something where you have the ability, BPM is a place where you have the ability to not only network and, create your own career, but you also have an opportunity to create another L word, which is legacy. And we know how powerful legacy is because the gentleman, young lady to the left, and then gentleman to the right, we have Kobe Bryant. Think about all the stories that we heard after Kobe passed, right? And it wasn't stories. Some of them were basketball related stories for sure, a lot of them. But then you start hearing about all the stories of what he did to the community, stories of conversations, individual things that people would have never known that he was connected to that are now part of his legacy. Same thing with Chadwick Boseman, 2 very unexpected deaths, but their legacy continues to be shared. How? Through their stories. And so part of what I want to encourage you to do today, this isn't about public speaking, professional speaking. I mean, if you're going to go that route, I think that's great. And again, we have resources at Black Speakers Network to be able to support you with that. But regardless, I don't care what industry that you're in, stories play an important role in our life. And what I want to encourage you to do is to begin to embrace the power of stories, to start capturing your stories so that you can actually use them to influence your income, to create influence in your community and the people around you, and also to serve as impact. So I'm gonna share some quick tips on how to structure your story, and then we are gonna wrap this thing on up. So right now, if you're like, man, I don't even know where to begin to put together a story. I've never told an effective story. Like, I'm really not a speaker. Don't worry, I got you. So if you're familiar, one of my favorite, companies that, in my opinion, have mastered the art of storytelling is DC. DC Comics. I'm just playing. It's not DC, it's Marvel. So Team Marvel all day long. Okay, so Marvel, if you're familiar with the Marvel or the Marvel Cinematic Universe, of course, they have an entire comic book world, but they've taken this incredible world that Stan Lee, one person, has created and turned it into one of the most profitable movie franchises in history. And so if you're thinking to yourself, man, I need a story. It doesn't have to be an MCU level story. All you need, though, is some basic elements to start thinking about. So number one is characters. Every story is, of course, going to have characters. And now, even though we're talking about, we're using Marvel as an example, one of my favorite things is, thinking about the characters. Who are the people in your life, your coworkers, people here at BPM? Like, we create stories and we are in situations every single day. But I want you to start thinking about yourself as a central character in your story, and how all the things that are happening are going to impact or could potentially impact the stories that you tell. So characters are part one. So if you have characters, you have a story, beginnings of a story. Number two, you need a scene. Somewhere, if you are bringing your audience into a story that you're telling, you have to paint the scene. And so when I started this presentation with the MSU Toastmaster story, I said this: if you had been sitting next to me in a classroom at Morgan State University in 2006. And so I'm instantly transporting you all into a scene. It's not just you're somewhere on campus, somewhere in a building, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm giving you the exact elements. And so as you think about your scene, as you think about your story, always try to think about, if you can, multiple senses. What does your audience see? What do they feel? What do they hear? What do they taste, if it's applicable? Because all of the senses can actually help to build a richer scene and environment and information for your audience. So the next thing you need, so we talked about characters, we talked about setting the scene. The next thing you're going to need for your story, of course, is some sort of conflict. If there's no conflict, there's no story. And that's the reason why, sometimes it's hard when my brother is rambling, because sometimes it's just like, there's no climax. It's just like, yo, are we going anywhere? So make no mistake, if you're telling a story, many of you like road trips or getting on planes and stuff like that. If you're telling a story to one person or 10,000 people, you're basically inviting your audience to go on a journey with you. If you're inviting your audience to go on a journey, they want to know, how long is it? What do we need to pack, and kind of when are we getting there? And so ultimately your story is going to have some sort of conflict. There's going to be something that you're overcoming. Now, it doesn't have to be another person. The conflict could be a challenge from within. In my particular case, the conflict was my ability to get over my fear of speaking and actually get through the presentation. That was a conflict. The butterflies flying around in the stomach, thought I was going to pass out, and eventually make my way through. Now, that's conflict. Next, you also are going to have a climax. So this is where the story reaches the crescendo. Like, this is the grand finale, and everybody's going to see, what's going to happen. And so that's pretty simple. But the main thing I want you to know about the climax is that in the climax, there is going to typically be a point where a major decision is made. And so if there's drama, if there's chaos, if there's characters introduced, everything needs to kind of be resolved at that point, or your audience is going to still have like questions in their mind. And if you're telling a story, you never want to end a story where, you know, you said something before and the audience was like, well, wait, they introduced this person, what happened to them? Or they said this and we never got back to it. And so just make sure that if you're going to introduce information, that you can wrap it all up before the end of the story, and that it has some sort of significance. You're also going to have a hero. And so the great thing about a story is that a hero can be anything. Right here, we got Tony Stark. He did the snap. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Endgame, he is the hero. But a hero could be anything. A hero could be a book. A hero could be a quote that your grandmother told you when you were 2 or 3 years old. It could be a billboard that you saw on the side of the road. Like a hero could be anything that helped you resolve the conflict that you were facing initially, or that your character was facing. And this says number 5, it's supposed to say number 6, but your takeaway lessons. The takeaway lessons, what did we learn? How are we better off because of this story? Why did we take the time to go through all of this information? Like, there has to be something that we're walking away, and now, just like in the STAR method, you know, what was the result? Like, how are you better off? What are you going to change? What actions are you going to take? What are you not going to do? You know, and so if you ever need help with this whole model, watch any 90s sitcom. I'm talking Full House. I'm talking Family Matters, Boy Meets World, like any of them. Every 90s show follows this exact same arc. There's, you know, something happens. Characters are introduced, there's some sort of conflict, it reaches a climax, there's some sort of situation or resolution, and then there's a takeaway lesson at the end, and normally the audience goes, oh, and then the show ends, you know. So basic structure of a story, really, really simple. Guys, we're pretty much done. I just got 3 quick ways that you can capture stories as you go, as you leave today, as you leave this BPM meeting and you're walking around Baltimore, you're, you know, sitting in meetings at work, you're going to cookouts, there's stories all around you. And so I want to make sure that you have some quick tools to capture your stories. And number 1 is just recognizing that stories are happening to you every single day. If you get stuck in traffic tomorrow, like one time I went to Detroit, if y'all been to Detroit, you know that Detroit borders Canada. And so one time I was in Detroit doing a book signing, and I took an accidental Uber ride. And some people, you know, have maybe been in an Uber and they take them in the wrong direction and it takes longer to get to your destination. Well, I took an accidental Uber ride to Canada, and it was a 90-minute detour over the bridge, and I had to go through customs twice, come all the way back. And so that could have just been something crazy that happened to me, but now it's a story that I actually incorporate into my presentations. And so as long as you got a takeaway message, characters, the conflict, climax, all the elements we mentioned, you got a story. So start thinking about, you know, the stories that are happening to you every single day. The number 2, I'm going to encourage you to listen. Listen is a critical part of communication that we don't talk about enough. BPM is a great place to practice that, because this format that you have where you're give people an opportunity to ask questions is perfect. And so if somebody's talking to you, it doesn't matter if you're on a webinar like this, where, trust me, I get it. It could be easily to be distracted. You know, there's probably multiple windows open. You got dinner in the oven. Somebody's asking you a question. Your kid is running in the room, whatever it is. Like, it's very hard to tune in, especially in 2021. But I'm telling you, if you can master the power of listening, your storytelling ability is going to go through the roof. And so I'm going to encourage you to listen to learn and not to respond. Listen and think about, like, when you're listening to somebody talk, it should be automatically, if you're automatically triggering other questions, or you're thinking through and you're getting that mental picture, then you're on the right track. If you're listening and you're just sitting waiting for them to finish talking so you can ask your question or you can interject with your point, then you're not really listening. You're listening to respond. And so that's the other critical thing that you want to master. And then finally, you're going to need to practice. I mentioned Toastmasters before. Toastmasters is a phenomenal organization to practice the art of public speaking, but you don't need to join Toastmasters to practice the skill, because again, we talk every single day. I think on average, on average, we speak about 16,000 words a day in the United States. And so we're talking a lot. So practice telling what I call micro stories, these 1 to 2 minute stories. If you have to open a meeting, if you have to talk to your kids, if you have to explain a work project to your boss, if you have to pitch a project for your business, whatever it is, practice the art of incorporating these things that we covered today into micro stories, these 1 to 2 minute short stories, whenever you have the opportunity. And certainly those things will add up. But ultimately, my main message for you this evening, BPM, is take the time to capture and practice telling your stories, because facts tell and stories sell. Guys, I'm absolutely done. If you have questions or want to keep in touch with me after the presentation, feel free to do so. Again, my name is Brian Olds. I'm president and founder here at Black Speakers Network. My phone number is down there, 443-731-6537. You absolutely feel free to text me. I'm at Brian J. Olds on everything, as King mentioned, Clubhouse, Instagram, LinkedIn. Instagram is where I share a lot of my business tips, resources, business mindset, and things like that. I have a weekly show called Coffee with Brian that's available. So all sorts of tidbits, but I am here for you all, and I'm looking forward to continue to support you in your journey. So as we say in Black Speakers Network, keep speaking up because your audience awaits, and I will see some of y'all on stage.
Hey, Brian, definitely it's a pleasure seeing you again.
Hassan Diggs, what's going on?
Oh, man.
Thank you, sir.
It's definitely a pleasure. Does anybody, I always say that there's a wealth of resources within the organization, and you don't always know who you're speaking with because of the humbleness of the brothers that are here, but you have a giant in front of you. So if you have a question, this is the time to ask it. Well,
absolutely. Go ahead, Hassan. I'll ask that for you. Go ahead.
I'm gonna take the opportunity. So, I feel like with Black professional men, a lot of times it's opportunities and skills, right? And so today we had two opportunities that kind of blends together. And we talk about your marketing and your business plans, and then now we had Brian O's kind of talking about how do you present and how do you put your best foot forward when you're engaging with your audience. And so I feel like those two things kind of brings to me the P of the place of the 4 P's of marketing when you talk about where you meet your consumer. And you need those particular elements together to be able to get there. So, my question, I guess, is to anybody that's here, what would you say has been your biggest, just looking back, at what particular stories you may want to share in the future, but what story will help you bridge that gap to help you increase the places where you can reach your consumers?
I like that question. Anybody want to give it a shot?
Say it again. Say it again, Hassan.
So what experience have you had in the past that you will use as a story to help you increase the places where you can reach your consumers?
Well, it's not so much a story, because when you're selling products and services, every scenario is going to be different. There's going to be different objections that come up. I think what works well for me is going back to Brian's point of more or less active listening. So when a scenario comes up, I can reach in the story bank and pull out a story that's accurate, that moves the sale or transaction along. So when I'm able to do that, it helps me be more relatable. It helps my prospects show that I'm in the same shoes and that I can help them reach the solution they need.
You know, I took a course, I took a COTAR course to learn how to do government contracting, right? Or to be on the other side of government contracting. And the instructor had a book about negotiating. And he said, the first thing you do is say something that get the person talking, and then you shut up. And so everybody who knows me knows that I always have a certain thing I ask people, and then I shut up, and then I let them share. And then that gives me all the information I need to go into my Rolodex of resources to say, how can we assist you, or how can we help you reach your goal, or satisfy that pain point. And so, but that's my experience. And I know there's a lot of brothers here who may have similar scenarios. I know we have, real estate agents. So, I mean, I know when you asking your clients, what kind of house they want, you may not just say, hey, tell me what kind of house you want. You may have learned to say something clever that has them spill out everything they want, so that you can just get into mode where you can just document it and then pull it up on a computer and say, hey, here's your options.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. As we working with speakers, and I mean, Kendrick could tell you, even from the Morgan State University Toastmasters Club, I mean, it's a skill that it takes a while to, practice doing exactly what you did, Hassan. Like, it takes a lot of energy to be quiet and to absorb and allow the other person to say things, and then to be able to, if you can effectively give the other person what they said back to them, that's really, really powerful. And then to be able to translate that into something else, from a customer product or service perspective, like Shadid is talking about, very, very powerful. And so, I mean, this is all like, we're all building the plane when we're flying it as it relates to this piece, because at the end of the day, I think most people are kind of inherently, it's kind of like, particularly since, it's all men here, we naturally almost kind of bring a little bit of ego, a little bit of, one-upsmanship to like certain conversations. So it takes a lot of restraint to dial back and actually get used to, really hearing people and using that skill.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Brian. First of all, thank you for that presentation. Got a lot of nuggets out of it. First time I actually heard you speak, so it was a pleasure and honor. But I just want to springboard on what you said as far as active listening. And when I first got involved in sales, they told me to mirror the person that I was in front of. I thought that was the stupidest thing I heard in my life, until I actually started doing it. And what I experienced from listening to that suggestion was I listened more. And I paid it, and not only listened to what they were saying, I started looking at their body language, because as we know, 80% of communication is body language. So it was powerful, and I do it to this day, is I mirror the person that I'm speaking to, and that's a communication in itself, a nonverbal communication, and build a relationship. So that was spot on.
Nah, I
Yeah,
appreciate that. Appreciate that, Troy. Go ahead, Leroy.
now, and I'll just add this, Brian, great presentation, but that's all I expect from you. It's greatness. So I knew you were going to bring it. But just to add to what you said, what Troy said earlier too, and I know what Kendrick is going to say in another minute or so. But here's what I know I've learned to develop. And you talk about the skill of storytelling when it comes to what I call my guest. And that's GUEST, which is a program that I have when it comes to gathering the information that you want from your clients and being able to relate to them, have them relate to you, which is the E part. And the E stands for explain the benefits. And in that explaining of the benefits of what it is, your product, your service, even the organization, when you talk about Black professional men, Colin he told a great story at the beginning about how he came to be in Black professional men, which gives people, hey, this is the benefit of being a part of this organization. This is the benefit of the product or service that that I have for you, or that anyone may have for you, that solves the problem that you're looking for an answer for. Because that's what we all, those that are entrepreneurs, we are problem solvers. Your product is the answer to somebody's problem. And the way that they understand that, hey, here's my answer, is understanding the benefit of what it is that you are telling them. What better way than to be able to have a story attached to your product or your service, because then they become able to relate more to you. And all of us know people buy things from who they can relate to, who they can actually understand to, and who they see is transparent to them. So if I can relate to you more, if I have that kind of intimacy with you as far as being able to understand where you're coming from, then I'm more than likely to be able to understand the product and service that you have, or even the organization and what you can do. So that's what I'll add. But that is so true about everything that we've talked about tonight, all the way from Troy talking about the marketing that we do, our promotional material. All of it is a story. What story are you telling with your marketing? What story are you telling with your business? Brian, you put that thing together like a puzzle. And all those things. And what Hassan was saying too, all of those things factor into how we effectively communicate, and how we tell what it is that we're trying to either accomplish, or how we tell what it is that we're trying to do. So I thank everybody. This has been awesome tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Troy. And there's so much content, so many layers, right? That I encourage you guys to rewatch these on YouTube. This video is being recorded. You can watch it. You can watch the replay on YouTube. You can watch the replay on Facebook, just for you to really get and digest the nuggets that have been told. Brian, for me, I got into speaking. I met Brian at a panel. We did an event together. I got into speaking because I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. But when you bomb as a comedian, they throw stuff at you. When you bomb as a speaker, everybody still clap. They still clap. You do a terrible job speaking, they still clap. So that's how I changed paths. Right? I was like, I could be bad at speaking. Right? Nobody's gonna throw anything at me. Without further ado, we'll picking up the pace. We'll go to Kendrick with the community partner. Kendrick, the stage is yours. Now I'll mute myself.
All right, sounds good, man. Troy, great kickoff to understanding how important it is to brand yourself and be able to hand somebody a flyer, or be able to wear your brand on your chest. Brian, I wouldn't expect nothing less. You crushed it, and you get better and better over the time I've met you. And that was, I don't know how many years ago, but I just saw a picture on my timeline. It was definitely it was definitely many pounds ago, and many wisdom days. And so I want to just be a compliment and add value as the vice president of Black Professional Men, but also having an organization that basically does media masters. And I think my piece might actually just came out. Let's see if it actually works. So no, it just popped out. Let me reset that and play some applause while I come back. All right, there you go. All right. So what we really do is, and I'll take this motto from Brian. When I was in high school, I remember slam dunking the ball to win the game in a basketball game, and everybody running to this court picking me up, and everyone just said, we won the game. It's a basketball game. Great. And I remember having this dream about that same energy for a gymnasium, being excited about math and STEM and education. And that has been my life's work. For those that know me, I'm known as the STEM DJ, and we'll talk about math through music on another day. I'll share a little bit about math through music as I talk about how we communicate in this virtual world. Am I distorting everybody? Am I clean? Is the audio clean? They were looking at me crazy.
Yeah, you clean.
Okay. So I want to just kind of show how we just use Media Masters to share content. And so the other day I was actually at control my own content here is what I want to show you. Being able to
You gotta ride up beside you, even if you ain't have all the money, fame, and the power. So I found her.
all right. The other day we actually took young people to Italy. And so it was nothing more than being able to control what people see. And take young people to Italy. And I can easily get off the screen, come back on screen. Hello. I can let her do all the talking. And say,
the capital city of Italy is Rome, or Roma in Italia. Let's go to visit it.
So many people be like, Five, you still DJing? I would look at it as providing the audio score, because it's just in a push of a button, I could immediately just put my brand on the screen and have applause in the background while I'm still talking about Italy at the same time. Media Masters is a way to take your message that Brian just told you to craft your story virtually and being able to present it in a way that it lasts even longer over Zoom. See, many of our young people in the educational world are zoomed out. They tired of looking at the screen. It's stagnant. So when I can maneuver in and out the screen, change what you see, and keep the engagement high, that adds value to how you present your stories. And so we want to be able to not only be able to complement each other, we want to be able to know what we really do. So it's not about just DJ 5-star. I want to create media jockeys around the world that actually promote our product, which is Math Through Music, which is to us an academy. And so where Math Through Music being an academy with our accelerated learning, because we know that our young people are they're a little behind the 8 ball right now. So everything that we want to provide is accelerated learning in that accelerated learning space, and bringing our young people back into society, into the school physically. And so what we do is the same way you see this screen change with this record that I'm really controlling it with, we do physically as well with screens and projectors as well. And so we want to be able to have that smooth impact of being able to communicate both virtually and physically to bring our young people back in to schools and being able to really be back into engagement, and most importantly accelerate, because they falling short, and we want to get and really get our partners, which is what Black Professional Men is to me. Thank you to our president for allowing me for really realizing that to me. It was about a 6-year ago conversation when he said, well, Kendrick, if our mission is to ensure the future of the African American male, then we should be doing business with your company. We should be writing grants and partnering with your organization, because that's how you ensure your future. And that was an aha moment for me to stop looking at Black professional men like I look at my church. I just come to serve. Don't ask me my prices, because whatever you can offer me is not. It's a different relationship with church. Here in Black professional men, the relationships are priceless. However, our stories are priceless, but we also need the way to capture those stories, and then we also need a way to deliver those stories in an upgraded way. And so what we do at 5-Star Enterprise is add production value to your stories that you put together, the marketing that you put together, Added value is what we provide, whether it's just the audio score of being able to play a sound effect as simple as applause when there needs to be applause, or a sound effect of actually people speaking and talking about whatever we need to do. And so, for example, for the Baltimore County African American Cultural Festival.
High School. I am Kendrick Tillman, otherwise known as DJ 5 Star.
And so I can submit their content and be on the screen with myself on the fly while we highlight our scholars for the Baltimore County African American Cultural Festival, which is another partner of Black Professional Men. See, it all ties in together, just like Leroy said, it's a puzzle. And because we have a strong team that manages our partners. Thank you, Shadid. It all makes sense in the long run when how we can deliver our message. And so this part of my story wasn't to be long, because most people know I really stand for education, and everything that I'm about is education. However, our biggest client was Northrop Grumman. So when they see value in attracting millennials to their career fair, because we can control what you see on the screen with this record, whether physically or virtually, that adds value to your message and your story as it does to a $80 billion organization as such as a Northrop Grumman. And so with that, I want to digress for any questions, because I know we were a little behind on schedule, but I wanted to make sure that I incorporated what Troy said, who gave a great presentation on just knowing, having something to be able to print. Like here's a USB that's a bracelet with my name on it. He said marketing is key. So I'd be able to sell this as a product with music on it. It's like 2 gigabytes of space. They just pop it on their computer. Boom, it's in your computer, and now it's a media promotion for you. A media promotion. So look at don't just look at one way, because it's not just one way to skin a cat. It's about the collective economics. And I'll wrap up with one of my favorite quotes from Dr. George Fraser, when he says, when 1 and 1 comes together to collaborate, 1 plus 1 only makes how much, Leroy? 2. But when 1 and 1 comes together to cooperate, 1 and 1 makes 11. And that's what we are here at Black Professional Men. Teamwork makes the dream work for me. So as we just kind of connected these, we didn't practice none of this, y'all. For those that are watching this on Facebook, I didn't know what Brian was going to speak about. I didn't know what Troy was going to speak about. He didn't know what we was going to. It just flowed together like that, because that's what organic people have in common. When you have that organic mission-driven space, that is what we're about. And that's what all I want to say. And wait a minute, one more thing, because this is important. Ego is a thing that divides us. And I was told that the acronym for ego is edging God out. And so I want to acknowledge King Collins for that wonderful, powerful prayer that set the tone of the meeting, because he made sure that we wasn't edging God out. There's no ego in this whole meeting, and there's no ego in this organization. And I just thank all my brothers for allowing me to be the community partner as 5 Star Enterprise for this particular moment. And so with that, I'll digress and give it back to our wonderful, wonderful minister, master of ceremony, and any questions for me, I would love to entertain.
No questions, just comment. It's great to see the progress of Media Masters, and like seeing it from the very beginning. I remember you went to the tech breakfast and did the demo in front of all the investors, and to watch you work on your craft to the point to where it is today is a great example for us all on just sticking to it and trying to get that mastery out of what we're good at. So hats off to you.
Kendrick, as always, excellent presentation. I would love to see one of your presentations from beginning to end. And I think we all would benefit from that, because that way, as we come across different people in our separate networks, we can speak to the value that you can bring to an organization, to a school more effectively if we seen some of your work. I have never seen it from beginning to end. So I am definitely, as I said from the very beginning, a fan and a raving fan at that. So, but I would like to be able to have seen one of your presentations to be able to communicate it more effectively what you can bring to the table.
And I think,
one of the things that is often said, and to your point, things have to be experienced, it can't be explained. And this is often said that within our organization, sometimes you just have to grab somebody and say, hey, I just want to come with you. And, many times early in the morning, Kendrick could be like, hey, I'm going to DC. I'm going to be there at 7:00. Okay. It's 4:00 right now. Or, it's midnight or whatever. Right. And I'll be there because he asked me to be there. Okay. And even though he asked me to be there for a totally different reason, the fact that I'm in the room, in the building, I get to see him speak. Like, his favorite speech is life's work. That's my favorite speech of Kendrick, is life's work. So if you're ever able to experience that, it will inspire you to do whatever it is you're trying to do. Again, it's just whatever you feel. But I just wanted to share that.
Hey, Ken, for those that might not be totally familiar with what you do, the products and services that you offer, can you put your information in the chat so that they can know all of what you do? And I'm sure you probably have a full presentation and everything like that, like on your website and everything like that, so that folks can actually get a little tip of what you do, because this is phenomenal. And like you said, this has been totally just a great evening of knowledge and information and connectiveness that we had tonight. So I thank you. Great presentation tonight as well, and it's just been phenomenal. I can't thank all of y'all enough for this evening, because this has been great. This has been awesome.
Yeah, I agree. 5-star. I do think that seeing this live, to Hassan's point, I was in the building at the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers National Conference, where you were rocking the building, man. Like, I've seen you continue to progress this. And so I think it's very important that we have, particularly for media masters, and I put the link just from your Instagram in here that has like pretty much all of your like links to like all your social, like everything is in there, but there's a link in there that says Media Masters as well, as well as your main website. So I think that'll pretty much cover everything. But this is outstanding, and I definitely I'm gonna download your updated media kit, because as I'm having conversations with organizations, like, I think this is important, so it's top of mind to, a lot of times opportunities don't come up. They're not going to say, you're not going to hear from an organization necessarily, hey, do you know a DJ that can blend like, music and stuff like that's not how it's going to come. They're going to be like, hey, we're planning an event and we need, to create this experience. It might be like a passing conversation, and then you be like, boom, I got the perfect person, and start the conversation there. And so I think things like this help us keep the power, and what you're doing is very, very innovative. I don't know anybody else that's doing anything close to this. So appreciate the presentation, and definitely want to find a way to continue to get this in front of more people in my network.
And so with that, I appreciate you, brothers, because it's a layer to spiritual spinning. And so imagine that being a pastor that I'm just scratching him quoting the Bible or the Quran. Like, to me, it's about positive energy. I like to be in the vibe. So if I'm with the brothers and I'm rocking the Quran, I can maneuver between what I need to rock in that moment, because there's so much content that already exists. I'm not trying to recreate the wheel at all. My content is around math through music. For those that know, we have a product that teaches young people how to DJ using mathematical principles. But other than that, all I'm using is taking your message with our method to help it resonate in the long-term memory of a captive audience. And so for me, I don't have any competitors. There's no competition to me because, like you just said, Brian, nobody's doing what we're doing. And so all I'm doing is just bringing up an army of media jockeys, MJs, not DJs, MJs, media jockeys, to be able to take your message, your story, with our method. Your message with our method, it's gonna click. They're going, oh, did you remember when it was? It easily is.
In this first lesson, you will apply your understanding of estimation, rounding, decimals, upper and lower limits.
This is our math through music.
Range, skip counting, median, and rates.
All through North America, this is math through music.
And rates to mix music. We will look at what happens when the integrity of a song is sped up or slowed down. What makes some songs?
Whether you're 6 or 60, I got your undivided attention. And it doesn't matter what type of content that is. It's a compliment to your story, your message with our method. And that's what I was trying to capture today. And so I recorded on my end. I'm going to re-look at the YouTube and pull from all of you wonderful, wonderful brothers on this line, because it means a lot to me, because it's been year 11 of a 20-year plan, y'all. I'm not, it's nothing we just did overnight and said was going to be what it's going to be. We said, okay, this is how we should be in year 10. We need to get to year 20. And so the next goal is the scale and scalability. So for those of you out there that have a passion in the DJ craft and technology and STEM, please connect with me. It's easy. You can find me, DJ5star at Gmail, or my government name is Kendrick Tillman at Gmail. Once you send me an email, you'll be in my email blast. For those, y'all probably get my email blast. It'll usually come in your promotions tab. So I thank you for supporting or doing some type of acknowledgement. I get a lot of calls to say, I looked you up and your reviews are amazing. That's intentional, just like Mr. Troy said. It's intentional with a CRM system that's constantly sending you a message to review DJ 5-Star.
Message.
Thank you. We'll get to the closing, the president report, but I want to urge and encourage everyone to take action on all of the information that you've been given. Right? It means nothing. They say knowledge is power. It's execution that's powerful. Right? So take action on all of these nuggets that's been given. There's a lot of wisdom that's been given, a lot of free game, a lot of years worth of effort and time, and a lot of things, a lot of lessons that were learned that you don't have to pay the cost for. Right. So I just urge everyone to find something out of this to take action on. And then President, the floor is yours.
All right. I definitely want to thank everybody for coming out. One of the things that Kendrick and I have been working on is the transition for Black professional men for 2022. So as we know, we're going to have an election, and we have been grooming, our next set of executives to kind of lead the organization on. Now, when Kendrick and I became the leaders of the organization was considered to be a Ferrari, and our instructions, don't crash it. So one of the things that we've been able to do is that the organization no longer a Ferrari. It's an aircraft carrier that carries hundreds of Ferraris. And the great thing about an aircraft carrier is that it has so much momentum, it's going to keep going in that direction. So no matter if our next team of executives makes a million mistakes, the momentum of everybody who have come before them the last 30 years, it will still allow them to have a huge learning curve and allow them to keep course until they're able to correct. So I wanted to kind of start off with that. So a lot of times people would say, hey, when you're about to transition out of office, you got to sometimes let your foot off the gas and kind of let things slow down or level up. And it's amazing that we don't have to do that because we're at such a pace where we're in that aircraft carrier, and a lot of things that we are doing, nobody can feel it unless they're directly involved with it. But just like an aircraft carrier, you're there on it, and if you want the option to be involved with it, you can. But if you don't want to, it won't impact anything else that you're doing. But everything is connected, because when you're on an aircraft carrier, you only have that finite of resources there to do everything you need to do. So we've been stockpiling resources for the last few years for these moments. And so I'm just excited of what the next chapter for the organization will bring. Now, just speaking about the summer, because that's the next thing, because after this meeting, we go on a summer break, is that we're going to be working to engage into a youth development workforce development initiative, where we're going to be working with various partners to secure real estate to help put youth to work and ultimately have them run those pieces of properties that we're going to be able to secure through our partnerships, and then use the revenue from those properties to clean up the community. So just like an aircraft carrier, everything is connected, but everything can be separate. So, and if you look at it, we always say, and just looking at when I was a kid, right? I was 15, I had to go see a corrections officer. That was my first mentor, a corrections officer. And I had to go see a correction officer because I was fighting over cheese. Now, it wasn't necessarily cheese I was fighting over, but it was the principle. Nonetheless, at 15, I had a lot of time on my hands. So what do you do when you have a lot of time on your hands? You do things that you probably wouldn't do if you had a schedule. So what we're wanting to do is we want to give these youth a schedule in our community. And so by giving them this schedule, we're giving them something that they can do that, you know, they have less idle time. So that's one of the main things that we're going to be working on this summer. And then when we come back, we're going to be evaluating the safety of, do we go back to the hybrid of having a stream live meeting, or do we keep our meetings virtual? Now, yes, everybody is ready to get back to normal and get back to the way things are. But, you know, even this week, I've been exposed to friends and family who have, you know, succumbed to COVID. So, and the people who have become a victim to it just got it a few weeks ago. So, I mean, even though people are saying, hey, this is almost over, this is still something very serious and something to be respected. So, you know, our team is going to kind of work through all those things over the summer and make the best decisions for the safety of our members and our visitors and partners as we, you know, worry about how we're going to engage in our activities for next year. We do have a good number of new members. I know a few of them couldn't make this meeting, but we probably will send out some information about those new members. And so, and we also have I know we talked about it before earlier about our Rays of Hope scholarship brunch that we're doing this year. And we only have a limited number of seats. It's 35 seats. And if you want to put the link in the chat and or online, this is very important to me. This shows exactly what we do as an organization, and to be able to witness not just the young men that have completed this program, kind of graduating and moving on to the next chapter. It's not about that. It's about the young men who completed it the year before last and years before then, that come back and help propel those young kings to where they're going to be going. And, I often say, being a 40-year-old, there's very limited things I can say to an 18-year-old to say, hey, for them to be able to say, okay, you're just an old person and these things happened back in the day. But to have a 19-year-old person tell an 18-year-old person what to do, what to experience, what to expect, how to achieve success systematically, well, it's received a little bit different. And, one of the things that I love about Black professional men is not about who needs to say it. It's about what tool you need to use so it can be received. And the fact that we have, young kings there that can be mentored by us, that can then mentor our scholars is just amazing. And the fact that this has been going on for the last 28 years. I mean, we actually have mentors. I mean, we actually have scholars that are about to have their kids be eligible to go through our program. I want y'all to think about that for a second. We have scholars who have kids who are eligible to go through our program. When you talk about longevity, there's one of the things you don't really hear. We have a founder whose son is a scholar. Now think about that, right? When Edwin started this organization, his son wasn't even born yet. He wasn't even born yet. And now, he has invested something into the community, and that investment has paid off to the point where he's not even really that involved in the day-to-day, but he's able to, enjoy the fruits of that labor by allowing his own seed to go through it. And I just want everybody to have the opportunity to experience that. And so if you don't have your ticket, I encourage you to get it. It's going to be a powerful ceremony. It's one of those things that, no, we cannot explain it. There's no flyer that we can show you to say, hey, how powerful this is. But when you hear the music and you see those kids and you see that ceremony of the transferring of knowledge and power, you just have to be there. So for those of you who can make it, we encourage you to make it. For those of you who cannot be there personally, there will be options for you to be able to be there virtually. Now, one of the things I will say about Black professional men over this COVID and how we have pivoted. King Collins, what's your address? What state are you in? You're on mute.
My bad. I'm in Dallas, Texas, building a castle.
So see, he's in Dallas, Texas, right? So one of the things that we was able to do during COVID is erase borders. We was able to erase limitations. So now we're not just servicing Baltimore. We're not just servicing Maryland. We're servicing Black men that is within the reach to hear our voice. If you can hear our voice, then you are now within our mission. And that's one of the amazing things. And so I just want y'all to remember that. All right. If you can hear our voice, we can help you. And that's one of the biggest things that this next administration is going to be able to move forward, is to extend the voice of strong Black men to help other strong Black men wherever they can hear us. And with that, I say good night. Well, are there any questions? comments or concerns about anything that we discussed today?
Not at all. Great job, Hassan.
Yeah, great job, great job, everybody. I just want to say thank everybody for joining this evening. Speakers, thank you all so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This was an awesome meeting, and you can also find out any other information that you want. You can go to our website, which is, Mr. President, you want, Colin, you want to give the website address that folks can go to if they want to check out our information?
Yes. So actually, I'll put the website
Okay.
in the chat, guys. If you're watching this, if you're on Zoom, there are 3 dots on the far right corner that will allow you to save this chat. You can save this chat and get you information to all the contacts that are on this chat. That all the contacts information has been shared. The websites to the Ray of Hope, the website to the BPM page, the website to DJ 5 Star, the website to the Eventbrite, and the website for you to pay your dues. All that is in this chat. So please save the chat. It's a resource, a tool that can be used. So save the chat. And I just want to thank you guys for watching. Attend if you're watching this on Facebook, please connect. If you only caught a part of it or didn't catch the whole meeting, you can also watch these meetings on YouTube under the Black Professional Men website, Black Professional Men page. Thank you guys for watching and participating. We really appreciate all the comments, all the presenters. It's a blessing to have you guys.
All right.
All right, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night. Good evening.